First story up on the day. LA pursuit. Suspect crashes, gets in a second vehicle, and gets away. This was an absolutely stunning pursuit down in LA. The driver crashed, which we'll have video here in a sec. He crashed into another car almost head on around the LA airport after speeds in excess of 120 miles an hour. They jump in another dude's car and they elude the cops again.
Sheriff's Southern Division was talking about this. They tried to pull him over, and he fled from the sheriff's. And now look at this high rate of speed.
Rear ends another car
right there. He just and he hit the palm tree too. Look at the
crashes into a palm tree in front of another house. They jump out of the car. After that, and that's a pretty good collision. You can see the guy running. They jump into another car. There were two in the original crash car. They stop. They pick up the first guy, wheel around the corner. He's already down the road some more. They find dude number two. And then they eventually elude everyone else in this thing. It's stunning how they were able to trip the cops in this thing like something you wouldn't believe. But that they did, and it's a minor miracle that it doesn't appear that anyone was shot or killed or anything in this thing. They're going to have to rethink these police chases. Either they're going to get them and subdue them quickly or let them go. The way they're doing them now is totally retarded in my position. They need to get some professionals in there that know how to apprehend suspects and know how to drive. Some of these cats in law enforcement think they know what they're doing, but they don't. Shocking, in the Inland Empire, man lunges at a knife at a police officer. We have the ABC 7 report. You thought.
Danger at the door. Danger at the door. Newly released video here showing a violent confrontation between a police officer and a man with a knife. Cathedral City Police say the officer was answering a 911 call last month about a verbal altercation between family members. As the officer approached the front door, a man rushed at him with a knife and repeatedly.
Yeah, last I saw, the CHP was in this pursuit. They got behind the vehicle and exited the freeway.
Yes. Harrowing video there. And again, and I understand cops got a very difficult job, but there again, you never know what's behind. They pull up at a traffic stop. When they pull up behind somebody, they never know, never possibly know what is going to happen. That was some stunning video there from Cathedral City. Judge Dwight W. Moore is the odious judge who let Jake Harrow, with no prison time in 2023 for the 2018 brutally abuse of his first daughter. This guy, and I don't know why he's not being made a poster child for this, but we're going to get deeper into the story later in a few minutes in the show. But this is the dude, this is the judge that let Jake Harrow off for 2018, abusing his daughter, permanently bedridden, permanently just injuries up the kazoo, and he let we're going to take some sympathy on poor old Jake. In 2023, didn't give him 0 prison time. This is unacceptable. This judge should be held accountable for his actions. He should give us an explanation. Now, most likely, baby Haro is dead. Emmanuel, his 7-month-old son. Look at those pictures. Those pictures suggest what District Attorney Mike Hestron said at the press conference the other day. They believed Emmanuel suffered abuse upon abuse in his 7 months. And Sheriff Shannon Dykes said, yes, he's cunning. Jake Haro's cunning. He's a professional at this. He knows how to duck the system. Again, we'll have more to say on this in a few minutes. Yes, we will. Get to the brawl, the youth baseball game. The Ashley Zavala and others in the media picking up on the Gavin Newsom tour of I'm going to imitate every move of Donald Trump. The new homeless, we got a new, after yesterday's announcement, they're going to send Highway Patrol National Guard into Purdue, LA, San Diego, Bakersfield. Now we're going to have more homeless, vagrant clean out. You talk about a dumpster fire mess, Gavin Newsom. And while he may be currying favor with the extreme left, that's all he's got left. Everybody else has told him GTFO. Had that, and that was probably the worst of the crashes. There was one crash in that first one we did on the interview where the dudes got away. And what I think they finally backed off the police deal. One of the cops got in an accident about 5 minutes before they called the chase off, after they were chasing the second car, the white Mercedes that ultimately ditched the cops on that deal. I mean, they did a smart thing. They kept rolling around LAX and got all the birds off of them. Sheriff's Department, Highway Patrol, all the TV stations, because there was about 2 or 3 TV station choppers following it. But he kept going around LAX finally, and they had to back off, and he got away. But there were more stunning crashes and stuff last night. It's Labor Day weekend, obviously. A lot of people, unofficial, official end of summer, as they say. A lot of people doing their last vacations. Used to be before you go to school, but hell, school starts now. Some of them are the first week in August. Sort of BS is that? Well, it is. There's indoctrination. Maybe we'll get into that later. Some interesting charts came out on the schools, on student achievement and what's been going on and how, all this, I love my teacher and they walk on water and all this stuff. Sadly, in most cases, that is false. And it's most likely your teacher too. Not saying there isn't some good ones out there with some good intentions. But the days of public education actually doing what it was intended to do are long in the rear of you, Amiro. I want to get back to one of the stunning revelations we heard at the press conference last night or yesterday. It had Riverside County DA Mike Hestron, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes. They all had a press conference about the just totally heartbreaking, disturbing case of baby Emmanuel Haro, who, as we know, was first reported missing by his mom, Rebecca. Said he was kidnapped outside of a Yucaipa sporting goods store, which nobody's buying that story, but she's sticking to it according to reports. Very soon after that, obviously Amber Alert, everybody's like going, just like all points bulletin, everybody's just up in arms, in tears, looking for baby Haro. Wasn't like the next day the cops called off the search. Even though, and I know a lot I did, and a lot of people thought the first story Rebecca was telling, let's say at a minimum, didn't add up. That right there, you knew things were not going to get or had a potential for turning very ugly. We had the situation where Jake Haro was out there, out in the Badlands in Marina Valley, between Marina Valley and San Jacinto, or Gilman Springs Road. Supposedly, Jake was telling them where the body may be. They didn't locate any remains. Police, sheriffs, district attorneys, investigators, everybody is pretty much presuming at this point baby Emmanuel is dead. They've charged the two parents, Jake and Rebecca Haro, with murder. But at that press conference, we got the news of the judge, and it had come out, because it's on court, public record. Jake Haro in 2018 with his first daughter, I don't believe was with Rebecca. They have another daughter that's 2 years old, I think, that Jake and Rebecca have. Older sibling of Jake, his half sibling, Jake Haro pled guilty to the heinous abuse of his first daughter. Well, believe his first daughter. She suffered traumatic injuries. She's still, 7 years later, she's still bedridden with cerebral palsy, multiple fractures, brain hemorrhages, everything else. Judge Dwight W. Moore was the presiding judge in that case that went from 2018 when sheriff deputies arrested Jake and Hemet in 2018. To Jake Haro pleading guilty to charges in Dwight W. Moore's courtroom in front of Dwight W. Moore of child abuse and of various charges. And Dwight Moore only gave him, Jake Haro, probation, saying the threat of jail would likely keep him out or doing anything more. Now, just going on the timeline and the dates, either Rebecca Haro is either pregnant or the 2-year-old daughter from Jake and Rebecca, she's either pregnant, very pregnant, or very newborn child in the Jake Haro home. Jake and Rebecca Harrow home. Nobody's checking. He's on probation. Mike Hestron said Child Protective Services don't appear to be involved or responsible. I think there's a lot of big questions that need to be answered here. We'll pick up a little bit more on this. There's a great article in the Long Beach Post. I don't know why anybody else is not picking up on this whole. I mean, I had to, and in case I missed it, maybe I did in the press conference, Mike Hestron, while I agree 111% with him that this judge made an in the top 3 errors of all time in recorded courtroom history. The extent of the injuries of his first daughter mandated some sort of jail time. On top of that, if he's on probation, why wasn't this taken up? Sheriff Chad said there's failures. Baby Harrow was failed at many instances. And the evidence is pointing a lot of people, a lot of agencies failed here. Now, Tuesday, when I was at the Board of Supervisors meeting, and I'm not going to name who yet, but there was an audit of 11 of the agencies, Sheriff's Department, Department of Public and Social Services, voter registration, animal control, 11 agencies. And I was talking to one of the high-ranking officials just for the meeting because I pulled all those items at the Board of Supervisors, as I'm have a reputation for doing. And it was just a question about the badges, because and we went over that Thursday or yesterday, I believe. Every agency is granting people still have badge access to county computers who are either terminated, retired, some way not supposed to have access. Every Department of Public Services up to 84%. Now I think they've lowered that percentage somewhat in 2 years. But I said, there appears to be a real dumpster fire going on at DPPS and all this, and how this is on. And that official said, hey, there's dumpster fires going all over this county. So we, the people, have a right to be concerned. Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese, Washington, supervisor. I'm going to bring it up. Turpin case, McIntosh case, Baby Harrow case. If what we see are unconscionable disasters going on for multiple years, despite, we're promised to fix it. $100 million in consultant fees and that. Tell me those are not political or whatever payoffs. And where did all the cash and all that stuff really wind up? We'll pick up more on this when we join the Mighty Met KMET here in about 12 or so minutes. But as we say, holy cow. it's beyond anything that I believe we have fathomed yet. How this stuff keeps happening. And it all points to the failure of government. It's just like Newsom's deal. Where he's caterwauling yesterday. Oh, we're going to get the state police in and all that. But now his latest rendition is, oh, we're going to, after the cop deal's coming in, just like Trump did with DC, oh, we're going to clean up the encampments. Really? Didn't you? How many hundreds of millions of dollars have we poured into this? Already. A task force? How many times have we heard this? I mean, he must think we're all imbeciles. And could be right. The majority keep voting for this yo-yo. Here he is at the Politico conference. I mean, he's down to staking out. The only thing he's got left is the appeal to the tutti frutti nutcase left, because everybody else is pretty much done with his sorry ass.
Of Democrats being on the losing end in this country and our democracy being on the losing end. We have got to fight fire with fire.
But I understand that's in Prop 50, but you're not saying you think Republicans are going to stop it.
I don't think Donald Trump wants another election. You think for a second I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
And you think
Did you notice a crowd is laughing? And that isn't the only time they're laughing at him. Like he's trying, they understand why other dudes, it's a joke. They're sending you Trump 2028 hats as a funny ha-ha deal. Newsom, and again, he knows it's BS, but he knows it appeals to that 15 or 20% kook left that just hate Trump. It wouldn't matter what. If Trump got Putin to dismantle all of his nuclear weapons by the end of the year, they would still hate Trump. Trump derangement syndrome doesn't even compare to some of these people.
he's going to run again?
Who spends $200 million on a ballroom at their home and then leaves the house?
See, they're chuckling at him again. Trump's building a ballroom. So when we have entertainment or we need something like that, the United States doesn't look like a bunch of paupers, like a bunch of two-bit tin horn dictator. We look like the world's leaders of freaking United States of America, like we should. He's placating to the stupid left. That's got us into the transgender thing. And, we had the latest shooting and the tragedy of that. That's another thing that needs to be investigated. About the drugs and the culture and the grooming and the stuff that's been going on.
Serious, guys. This is serious.
So it'll be Newsom Trump in 28.
No, this guy doesn't believe in free, fair elections.
Look, the moderator's trying to make a joke. Oh, it's going to be Newsom Trump in 28. He didn't even, he's like, oh, bypasses that.
Tried to wreck this country. What were you there January 6th? I think Fox was. At least they were in a lawsuit. They seem to have lost any memory of that. Shareholders didn't. I mean, he tried to light democracy on fire.
Shut up. Shut up. You sound like Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. Great minds think alike. And we caught that at the yesterday's press conference where he's rolling out, he's sending in the National Guard and the state cops just like Trump did to knock out the LA riots that were going on. The great reporter Ashley Zavala picked up on it. Here we go.
By Governor Gavin Newsom, in which he either mirrors or mimics President Donald Trump. The governor, though, adamant that this announcement specifically is not in response to the president. Reporters on Thursday shuffled into an unusual spot for Governor Newsom's press conference. His office.
Thanks, everybody, for taking the time to be here.
Journalists crammed together in front of his desk, similar to an image you'd see from President Trump's Oval Office.
Now we're going to be expanding this operation.
The governor announcing he's stepping up the state's law enforcement presence in major cities across California to crack down on crime. Days after President Donald Trump said he'd do something similar with federal officers in cities across the country.
So we're not reacting or responding to anything. On the contrary.
The governor said it's to build on public safety work his administration has been doing since he took office.
What? No, he hasn't. Crime's been going more out of control. They've been lying at the stats, just like the D.C. broad Mayor Bowser, who's running the same rhetoric as Newsom. Trump is evil. And then yesterday I had to admit, well, I'm glad Trump's here. Carjacking's down 87%. D.C. is now safe again to walk in the streets without getting mugged, shot. He's copying Trump's policies. He's copying Trump's image. He's copying the way Trump governs. He's copying the way Trump presents it. Well, I'm just going to try this new. I'm going to sit down at the office. I'm going to have all my cabinet guys and officials standing next to me. Trump's been doing that for 7 months in the Oval Office. It's flat. And 25% of the Democratic Party electorate are buying this crap. So you can see where the problem is. About 12%, 10% of the country has completely lost their mind. I don't know what more evidence we need than what we have just seen. But the dude is absolutely off the charts. A complete and utter nutcase, nutburger. Never say never in politics. But here it is. 3. Just got these in the mail. 3 flyers. No on Prop 50, the redistricting. 2 of them are 8x11, 2-sided. 1 is a 4-pager. The no folks are hitting the ground running. I say Newsom's going to have to raise at least $100 million just to maybe even be in the ball game of trying to pass that. And I still don't think he can. It's going to be very difficult.
All right, well, you got about a minute.
You got it. I'm going to do the regular intro. I found the outro on another jingle palette, so I'm going to try that on the end. We'll see how it works.
All right, well,
we're either going to roll the weekend out on
I got the intro ready to go. If you want me
Okay.
to, you want me to play it, or are you gonna try it?
Yeah, I'm gonna try it, see what happens.
All right. I cut out the outro too out of the last Friday
Right.
show. So if you want to just say, wrap it up, I can just play that.
I want to see if especially the outro is on a different one that I got here. So I definitely want to test the outro one when
All right.
we end. So I can have, if possible, have Jesse put it on this one, so I'll have a backup. So hopefully
Right.
if this happens again, we
got-
won't be.
A little less than 30 seconds.
You got it. No, we'll be joined, as we said. You're hearing a little bit of the technical crap we go through. Seems like on a daily basis. That we'll be joining the Mighty Met KMT. We'll pick up on the
All right.
odious white.
Here we go. 10
That's right,
seconds.
and Baby Harrow and PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Didn't hear it.
There's that funky slide guitar music, which comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the form of J and Band. Join your vast video audience, Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, YouTube, and the Roy Bleckert channel. Man, that was a hell of a crash. Dudes were running, suspected drunk driver, down around the LA airport area close. They're chasing speeds of 120 mile an hour, well, all over LA, but it got down around LAX. Hits the back of one dude, crashes the car. Another dude, and I think that was a BMW, Mercedes. You can draw your own conclusions what's going on here. I think most people have figured out. Mercedes, right on the scene, picks him. There were two guys in the crash car, crashed into the others and into, well, the tree of the apartment building, it looked like. They jump in this other car. Cops are chasing them, helicopters, 2 or 3, at least sheriff's department, I think highway patrol, and at least, I think 3 TV stations were on it. And he's going through, gets back around LAX again, which I believe was a smart move because they had to call the choppers off because LAX would not let them, like within a mile each way of LAX on the approach, I don't know, like about 3 or 4 miles back from LAX or west, you have to get permission to, if you're below 10,000 feet or something, you have to get permission from LAX coming in, obviously, for that. And they didn't get permission. And on top of that, when they were chasing the second Mercedes, one of the cops got into an accident with that, so they weren't following. So they ditched him. This is the second high-speed chase where the perpetrators have eluded the cops. And if this keeps happening, it's going to encourage more people to do these dangerous high-speed chases. So they need to come up with a policy. Either they're going to put an end to this stuff, like right now, or they're going to back off, because if the greater the odds the dude's running from the cops, the greater the odds he thinks of getting away, the more this is going to happen. Because I can tell you what, the most dangerous living thing, I don't care if it's a rattlesnake, I don't care if it's an ant, I don't care if it's another human being, take your pick. The most dangerous living creature is somebody that doesn't have nothing to lose, because they're just going to strike out or do whatever. Conscience, anything is thrown out the window. Newsom, after yesterday's announcement, he's sending the National Guard and cops into Purdue, San Diego, LA, and Bakersfield because they're crime-ridden hellholes, which we were told the day before, oh, we're the safest cities. And he's still, even in the press conference, he's saying, oh, how safe we were compared to, shut up. On top of imitating Trump at every Avenue today comes out, oh, we're going to have a vagrant task force to clean up encampments. How many times have we heard this in 20 years? As mayor, as lieutenant governor, as governor. As the tax-rich white boys, Prop 63, which was supposed to clean this up, you con the people into passing and supposed to have this all cleaned up by 2009. Here we are, hundreds of billions of dollars later, and the same failed promises. Don't say the emperor has no clothes. BS. The other revelation, and I finally got confirmation of this from Sheriff Chad Bianco of Riverside County, is when at the press conference Wednesday, DA Mike Hastron of Riverside County, Sheriff Chad Bianco of Riverside County, Sheriff Shannon Dykes was there, called in the Baby Haro case to give us an update. And he revealed the judge, but at least I didn't get the name. Well, finally, Sheriff Chad confirmed, this is where I got the info from, Dwight W. Moore was the judge that let Jake Haro get no prison time for severely abusing his first daughter from somebody, it wasn't Rebecca. He has one that's about 6 or 7 years old, back in 18, so I imagine she's in her teens now. She's bedridden still from injuries, cerebral palsy. She suffered multiple fractures in 2018, brain hemorrhages, horrific scene. In 2023, Judge Dwight W. Moore let Jake Haro off of that heinous crime against his, assuming his first daughter, and would be Baby Haro's half sister. Let him off with no prison time. Saying, oh, well, the threat of jail and all this other rigmarole. Sheriff Chad said at the press conference, this was a failure this wasn't just one failure. And these cases are cases like the Baby Haro, or we had the shooting in Minnesota at the Catholic school. And we can go back to cases by the boatloads since recorded history. There's never just one thing. There's always multiple signs. And there was always multiple failures in multiple systems to get to all these situations. The exploding vagrancy problem. The problem of our youth and our kids and our schools and just twisting their heads into mush. To our criminal justice system going in the tank. Mind you, this plea deal that Jake Haro got probation was 2023. He should still be on probation. With the first daughter he's having with Rebecca Haro, which was about in 2023. So either Rebecca Haro, it appears, let's put it that way, is either pregnant, very pregnant, and or is born in 2023 when all this is going on. And this guy, no prison time. What's the probation department doing? Mike Hestron says Child Protective Services or DPPS or somebody wasn't involved or wasn't responsible, then what, they weren't even checking? You got a guy who's on probation who is pled guilty to severe child abuse. As Shannon Dykes, Sheriff of San Bernardino, said, this guy's a professional serial dude at manipulating the system. That was his professional opinion. And he's, I don't know, probably 30, 40 years in law enforcement, Sheriff of San Bernardino. So we deserve, at a minimum, an explanation from Judge Dwight W. Moore on why in the hell he let Jake Harrow walk out of his courtroom on probation and not in an orange jumpsuit, in handcuffs, in the custody of a Sheriff Chad or Gavin Newsom in the state prison or whatever, or Sheriff Shannon Dykes or whomever. I mean, again, we ran them on the intro, but we're going to run them again. That's baby Emmanuel Haro. Look at those pictures. They say pictures tell 1,000 words. And when the DA and the two sheriffs said, we believe baby Haro suffered 7 months of his life being abused, just look at those pictures. It's shocking, tragic. The Long Beach Post, an article by Doug Carey, he's reporting on it. Father charged with killing baby Emmanuel Haro was allowed to avoid prison in a recent child abuse case. Baby Emmanuel Haro, the alleged murder victim in the case where his parents, Jake and Rebecca, are the defendants, would still be alive today if not were for the judge's decision to grant Jake probation. These things, I mean, that says it all right there. How did he, at any point, for any reason, this guy, Jake Haro, should not have been walking a free man today. There should be something. And if he was, there should have been every probation department, Department of Public Social Services, Child Protection Services, even the district attorney and sheriff should have been monitoring this family to the max. In 2023, Jake pleaded guilty to willful child cruelty in a case involving his 10-week-old daughter, Carolina Haro, who suffered a fractured skull, damaged spine, multiple broken bones, and other injuries evidencing severe child abuse. At the court hearing on June 8th, a little over 2 years ago, Superior Court Judge Dwight W. Moore suspended Jake's 6-year prison sentence and granted probation instead. I'm giving you a chance. said Judge Moore. Don't mess it up. Good luck. It appeared from his comments at the time that Moore thought that the threat of prison or any probation violations would be a detriment to any further wrongdoing. We have hung a very large hammer over the defendant's head, he said, according to the transcript obtained by the Long Beach Post. And of course, DA Hastron Wednesday said that was outrageous. They asked for Jay Caro to be in prison at the trial, at the sentencing. Deputy District Attorney said in that courtroom, Your Honor, I would just ask for the record to reflect that the people are objecting to this. Yes, yes, and hell yes. Said Teola, this is based on the severity of the injuries as we discussed of the victim. I mean, what else do you need? How this was, and again, even if he was going to let him run on probation, he should have laid out the terms, and all the agencies that were going to watch that family, they had to know the second daughter and first one born to Jake and Rebecca is either she's very pregnant or is born because she's 2 years old. On Wednesday, Judge Moore told the Long Beach Post that ethical rules prevent him from explaining that he granted probation to her. I am absolutely precluded from commenting on policy. Stuff it up your ass, Moore. You owe the public. You owe baby Emmanuel Haro an explanation for why the hell and what went on and what was going through your head. This beyond, I mean, sometimes words, or the words you want to use, you shouldn't. You can't think of the words. There are no words that can really truly explain all the actions that went on here and why we're at this point today. Hopefully we'll get to the truth of everything. Hopefully Judge Moore reconsiders. I want ethics. If you had any ethics, Dwight W. Moore, you'd come clean, and if you effed up, beg for mercy, forgiveness. But you're not going to get it, I don't believe. If you keep ducking it, trying to hide behind, or that. Man up and say what you did and why you did it. Because we can't fix these problems if we cannot identify them. And they're obviously, this is problem times 9,432. Last one we'll get to here today, I think. Where we sign out on this Faster Than You Friday. Brawl breaks out. The youth baseball game. Here's KTLA 5 report.
Game in Rosemead when an umpire attacks a coach from one of the teams. Witnesses say the coach taunted the umpire for several minutes before the umpire lost his patience. Good evening. This is the KTLA 5 News at 5:30. I'm Cher Calvin.
And I'm Micah Ullman. The fight broke out right in front of several young children.
KTLA's Jean Kang is live in Rosemead with the details and the video. Jean?
Micah, Chair, I tell you, things got really ugly when suddenly an umpire and an assistant coach got into that big brawl here on the field in Rosemead with dozens of young players watching in shock. A lot of folks are saying this afternoon that this is really the worst example to set for kids.
A fight between an umpire and an assistant coach is shocking. Has our society really got to that point?
This video, which has gone viral, shows the intense confrontation at Rosemead Park Fields during a youth travel ball game with dozens of kids and families watching. Witnesses say the assistant coach for a team known as the Hitmen was seen approaching.
They're a team known as the Hitmen. So the assistant coach thinks he's going to be badass and walk out, as we've seen gazillion times at baseball games from Youth Little League to the World Series. And he thinks the umpire is a complete moron.
The umpire multiple times, upset about a call, and when the ump ejected him, we're told he spat in the ump's face and yelled this. As punches are thrown, organizers and other adults rush in to break it up, while 11 and 12-year-old players watched. The umpire, Robert, claims he felt forced to defend himself. Don DeGrazia is an umpire himself and spoke on behalf of his friend.
And when you feel threatened, like Robert was definitely threatened, the instincts just come into play. He's an exceptional young man. He's served in the military.
So, if you've been pushed, if you've been spit on, that's at a minimum of battery, if not assault or any other crimes that you can be charged with. So if that assistant coach pushes, physical contact, spitting, which isn't physical contact, but it can be a battery. Battery is any unwanted contact from another person. So if you're going to be Mr. Badass and walk up and shove somebody and spit on them, do they not have every right to defend themselves? And the reason is shocking. Again, how soft of a society have we become? Got to get a little toughness back. As I say, we can't run on 147% emotion all the time. Let's get in this place. We'll get to some of the local genre before we close out this faster than you Friday. Man accused of lewd conduct accidentally hit by a vehicle. Strange turn of events is a man accused of lewd conduct in Redlands restaurant found himself in a very bad situation. That's Ontario Motor Speedway, 1972. Well, a year or so after it was built, over 250,000 people at the California Jam concert back in, well, that was 74. First one, I think, was 72. Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Black Oak, Arkansas, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and more were out there at that. Don't tell me we didn't know how to get it done back in the day. Bridge vandal arrested by San Bernardino cops. Good job of getting the alleged criminals who are desecrating our towns. Maybe San Bernardino will get off the dirtiest cities left. Chalktober Art Festival in celebration of Halloween is Saturday, October 18th. Hema police are putting it on. Vendor opportunities are there. Check them out at Hema Police Department or the City of Hemet. Wyoming signs are down in many large cities, but we should not be prepared to pat ourselves on the back. Frank Bram Zeron, a USC professor, said. More of this BS on crime is down crap. Night of Destruction will be out tomorrow. Paris Auto Speedway. I think they're having another rodeo in Norco of that. Yes. Newsom was wrong about everything. That's the counter to the Trump hat that Trump was right about everything. That's what Newsom's mad about. They're really sending him, Newsom, those hats, and he is really PO'd about it. Colton police are reviewing leads in a 4-year-old's death from 2010, 15 years ago, and it's traced to a Hemet religious group that's had some people missing and everything else. That case is another one just absolutely disturbing. We grew up in the 70s. That's Hope Street in Riverside. Hopefully, we'll get back to a day and time when kids could play out in the street in their big wheels, bicycles, and tricycles without everybody having a nervous heart attack. Red Cross blood drive coming up Wednesday, September 3rd in Harupa Valley. Banning Police Department uncovers illegal gambling and drug sales at a local business. Well, maybe they didn't scoop up Sean because he's still on the air today, or maybe he's out on bail. I don't know. We're just joking, giving Sean a hard time. He's the engineer back at KMET, bringing you this. That'll do. It's Labor Day. Be careful. Cops will be out, enforce highway patrol, as we say on that, looking for people driving under the influence. So don't drink and drive and be safe. That'll do it for today. We usually say it this time. Mandatory, you're back here in 71 hours. Why? We're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya.
The proceeding was a paid program.
Didn't hear it, Roy.
So that's on a different one coming. I don't know why. Okay. Well, I'll see if I can get a hold of Jesse and get him over here this weekend, see if we can figure it out. So
yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I mean,
it's got to be something that's not reading those files.
You said
that's not
Zoom.
On Windows. That's not on Windows Media Player or nothing.
You said Zoom had an update. Or
yes.
And
that's the only thing that's. And I don't even think it's so because that there was not on Windows Media Player.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Something it's not picking, and that different computer again, not picking it up. I don't. So there's something for some reason. No matter what, it's not picking these up. It's got to be some stupid little setting or something that's.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it updated, I don't know if it updated over here because I wasn't here the last couple days. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, well,
I might look at the settings on our Zoom and to see if something changed there too. I have no clue.
I mean, it changed everything on mine. Like I say, it didn't say it updated. It just made me sign in. So usually, sometimes when it does update, it makes sure. I know XSplit does that. When they update, they make you re-sign in. You know. On the deal. I don't know if that I'm just thinking maybe it did, but I don't know for whatever reason on Wednesday it made me sign in, it made me re-sign into Zoom. That's when all the problems, it reset all my settings and all the other, whatever. I've been able to get everything back but that. And that's the only place it plays on everything else perfectly.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look at that.
This is weird. Like I said, I don't even think it's Windows Media Player because I found the outro on the jingle palette that's not on that we had originally. It's
Yeah.
not in Windows Media, and it didn't play there. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's really weird.
What times are you any times good that you'll be available on during the weekend? Just give me a message on there when you are, and we'll see if we can figure it out.
All right, I'll check it out. I'll talk to you then, Roy.
You got it.
Bye
Thanks.
now.